The greatest tragedy was that we saw it coming.
Hi, I'm Eva Orner. I'm the director and producer of the feature documentary Burning. The film is about the fires that ravaged Australia in the summer of 2019 and 2020. The reason that I made the film was I was actually back in Australia from America where I live, and I was witness to the devastation. I was so shocked. I'd never seen anything like it. It affected most Australians and had a profound effect on the country. And by the time I got back to LA, I thought it would be prescient to make a film about the fires, but really focus on climate change and tell the story of how Australia got to this point, where we are globally and what we need to do moving forward. I'd like to introduce our lovely panel today who all appear in the film. We have Tim Flannery, who's a really noted Australian climate scientist. We have Greg Mullins, who is a former firefighter and the former fire commissioner in New South Wales. And we have Mike Cannon-Brookes, who is the CEO of Atlassian and a pioneer in renewables in Australia and globally. Tim, do you want to take us a little bit into a detail just for people who might have just seen the film or want to see the film, what we're facing in the next 50 years if we don't hit our targets?
Sure. Well, look, Eva, it's really important to understand that Australia is one of those parts of the world where temperatures are rising faster than the global average. And so some of the things that you see in Australia should act as a warning to the rest of the world. There'll be extinctions, there'll be large-scale dislocations, really things that stress our civilization. This is really, we're entering a phase now where this is the last moments to act. I mean, this next decade is really, the last real chance to act, I suspect, and many scientists suspect. The warning, the fires acted as a very important warning to us to just how bad things can get.
So we've just emerged from COP26 in Glasgow, which was billed as the most important and urgent COP we've ever had. I'm just interested in what you all think about, was it a success or a failure?
I think one of the good things to come out of it was the amount of international attention it got this time around. Global media, the worldwide was focused on this issue and bringing attention to it and creating noise. And I probably would have liked to see a little bit more of an outcome from that, I would say it's a step forward, but not enough of a step that we need to take. The watering down of all the language on fossil fuels and specifically coal was pretty disappointing, given we know that fossil fuels are the largest part of this problem. And the longer we deny that or try to pretend that's not going to happen or going to be solved in some other magical way, the harder it is to solve that part of the problem. So, and then obviously from Australia's point of view, yes, I would have liked to have seen a real 2030 target with actual ambition. And
Greg, you're someone who's in the field who really experiences over the years or has experienced over the years the effects of climate change. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you felt with the COP and, not the targets not being as ambitious as they should be and how that will affect us?
Sure, Eva. Look, I was pleased to see, I was actually surprised how much progress was made, but this is just 1.1 degrees of warming. And I hope that people realise we're not talking about something that might happen in the future. It's here and now. I think we've crossed a tipping point with forest fires, bushfires, which will wipe out ecosystems. And we saw, as you say, in Burning, 59 million acres of Australia burned that summer. And they're sterile. There's nothing in some places, nothing living except the regrowth of plants in some of those areas now. So we have to dial down the heat. The main input is it's getting warmer and it's changed our weather patterns. So extreme weather events are far more frequent and we can't handle it. There's no firefighting technology on Earth that can handle the sort of fires that we get now, the frequency of them, the intensity of them. They make their own weather systems. You can't fight fires like that. So we have to bring the temperature down. I'm pleased there's an urgency in the rest of the world, but embarrassed that the Australian government just can't get its act together.
Yeah, I was at COP and we screened the film there, and I did notice that, internationals, it wasn't an Australian audience for the film, and everyone was aware that Australia was essentially a pariah at COP. and that everyone knew that we were kind of lumped in with China, India, Russia. We were like the villains in the scenario. And yeah, I felt sort of ashamed, and that it was shameful. And I think it was sort of maybe slightly new to a lot of people. A lot of people maybe didn't know we were as bad as that. So I think Australia's cover was blown at this COP, which is a good thing. And it was reported globally in all press globally, which I think was a really good thing. And Mike, you talk in the film about a lot of things. One of them is the fact that, government should be forward-looking and planning our future, but they're not. And that's one of the failings, I think, of global governments at the minute. So I think maybe we'll get you to start talking a little bit about the future. But also, you can give us a little positive news. Is technology going to save us? Tell us a little bit of an update on your project, the Sun Cable that we talk about in the film. And, in terms of business, how, I guess, business is going to lead government moving forward.
We have the vast majority of the technology we need to solve 90% of this problem today. So I would encourage people not to hide behind some sort of fig leaf that we need to invent magical technology. Technology that we have today can solve 90% of the problem. What we need is action, and urgency to use today's technology and roll it out, deploy it at massive scale, rather than thinking it's some sort of R&D exercise. Sun Cable is a canonical Australian example of that. It's a global scale infrastructure project to try to build the world's largest solar farm up in the Northern Territory of Australia. It's one of the best irradiated places in the world, and use that power to power about 20 to 25% of Singapore via an undersea cable. Think of it as a very long extension cable. All of the technology involved in that is around today, right? We're doing a massive deployment of that technology. It's a very complex, balanced system, but we are not inventing any new technology to do that. And that will be live before 2030, hopefully a couple of years before 2030. And it's an example of both Australian ingenuity, I would say, in taking technologies, putting them together, building them and rolling them out to try to solve some big part of the problem.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for agreeing to be in the film, and also for talking today about the film. So the film is being released globally on Amazon Prime November 26 in over 200 countries. I suppose the best thing we can all do is tell everyone to watch it, jump up and down, and hopefully, when we talk again next time, things will be looking a little bit brighter. Thank you, everyone, so much.